Hey guys, welcome to Ride VP, the Rideshare channel. My name is Serge. Sorry that I'm recording this video in the dark, but I wanted to record it right now since I've read one of the comments on my channel and it was kind of interesting. Basically, I'm gonna actually put that comment up in the main thumbnail. I'll just cut it out and like stick it on there because I cannot really like say it word for word. But ultimately, what the comment is saying, hey, like you have all these different businesses. Why are you taking the work away from other gig workers in the rideshare space that depend and rely on this for this type of job? And there's a couple answers, but the short answer is I actually need the money myself. Like, I'm not just taking the money away from somebody. Did you know, guys, that I got to where I am today in my life is because of all the driving that I did. It's all the driving jobs. So ultimately, I'm not any better than you guys. I'm one of you guys that have, over time, bettered myself, but I still have a very long way to go. It just seems like, wow, businesses, you have all these different businesses, but in reality, even though I have 33 cars, even though I own my own house for cash, even though I have a commercial zone property, there's still so much work to be done. It's like I'm still in the beginning stages. So I want to bring out like a couple different points to you guys. So I got into expediting business with a Mercedes Sprinter van. At the time it was called Dodge Sprinter van, but ultimately it's a Mercedes Sprinter van. There's also Freightliner Sprinter vans, but I bought a brand new 2007 Dodge Sprinter van for $40,000 that I had payments on, which the payments were $800 per month. And in the course of a year and a half, I put like, let me see, I'm gonna make sure that I'm saying it right. Yeah, a year and a half, almost a year and a half. I put close to 200,000 miles on it. And this is why I've always been bringing this up. I'm saying you buy a brand new car in just the 1 year, if you consistently drive every single day, and if you do buy a brand new car, you will need to drive every single day. Therefore, you're going to be adding like 400 miles to your vehicle every single day that you're driving for Uber or anything else, ultimately resulting in 1 year with 150,000 miles on the vehicle. Well, it's really 148,000, but who's counting? If you do like, let's say like drive, even get some groceries or whatever, use the car for your personal means, ultimately you will have over 150,000. But just for the job alone, 400 miles per day, that will take you to around the figure of 150,000 miles per year. But anyways, that being said, lets you know what my mileage was on my 2007 vehicle. The vehicle started breaking down, and then I started needing to have the ability to fix that vehicle. As I was fixing the vehicle and stuff like that in time, you know, during the time, not after 185,000 miles or whatever, I already started having problems after 20,000 miles of ownership, and keep taking the van back to the dealer, you know, to fix some stuff. But ultimately, they could not figure nothing out. But anyways, this is not a video for me to explain the ownership. I started back in 2007 driving, expediting, and I drove all over the country, including Canada. And I was working for 80 cents a mile, and I was made fun of by some of my colleagues and, you know, friends that's maybe like in a trucking business or whatever. They're like, 80 cents a mile, huh? You know, you're not gonna make any money, blah blah blah, you know. And it's the same thing going on right now in a rideshare. It's like we look at how much money we're making and we're like, well, we need $1. True, we definitely need $1 because there's so much expenses going on. And same thing was going on with expediting. My vehicle was breaking down so much, like it was crazy. Everybody that I talked to in the industry, everybody was telling me it's costing me $20,000 to maintain this vehicle every year, because in just 1 year you have 150,000. Well, what do you have in 2 years? You're gonna have 300,000, and you're gonna have to maintain the vehicle even more, and it's gonna have even more issues and more issues. So ultimately, if you spending money to the mechanics, you spending money. So this is why depreciation is super important, and this is why it needs to be taken into account. But that being said, this is not the point of this whole video, and we're gonna need to kind of like leave this thing alone a little bit. And you know, it's very hard to talk about these things when there's so much moving parts, so much moving pieces. Okay, so I started in 2007, but then we're gonna basically skip forward. By 2012, I was completely broke. I didn't have that van. I didn't have any van. I didn't have nothing. I was completely broke. So we're not gonna get into why I was completely broke, but I was completely broke. My son was just born. My 11-year-old, he was just born, and I didn't have a place to live when he was born. So 2011, from 2011, August 29th, when my son was born, that's when I stopped having rent. I had to move in with my parents. In 2012, right around like November area, that's when I finally got my own place. So by that time, my son was beginning to walk. And it was very hard. It was very challenging. But ultimately, I needed to get back into the swing of things, and I had to start over. In 2012, I didn't have any cars. I didn't own anything. I had to live with my mom. But that was my wife living with my mom, not me. I started working for a fleet owner. I had to work for him now, and I was barely making any money. Like, literally, I was not even making enough money to pay like $650 rent, like and at that time you could find some rent for that price, let alone $800 rent. This is what it was in 2015 when I finally moved out. It became like $850. $850 actually. There was already like raised to like $900 before I moved out, but that's where the rent was when I moved out, like $850. But I think I got in it with $650. But anyways, that was cheap for Charlotte, very cheap, especially for South Charlotte rent. But that's what I could get, and that was Willow Ridge Apartments, in case anybody wants to know. But anyways, they became very expensive because new ownership, they did some remodeling and whatnot. But anyways, in just 3 years, from 2012, when I was working for the fleet owner, I then purchased my own 2006 Sprinter van for payments, because I didn't have any money. Like, I had like zero, like nothing. So the van had 650,000 miles. I paid it off in a year. After the year, the van broke down. I bought another engine for it. Cost me $9,500. Before it broke down, I bought $8,000 worth of parts, and I fixed the van myself. And this is just making a long story short, guys, because there's a lot to it. So the reason I'm bringing a lot of this stuff, because it's very relevant to where I am today. That you have to kind of see where the person was to where I am today to figure things out a little bit. In 2015, I bought a completely rundown home with a commercial zone property next door, which was not commercial zone property next door. It was a residential, but it was located on the main street in South Carolina. And I took the second portion of that property and I applied for rezoning with the planning department. And then I had to go through city council meetings, and then there were several meetings, and they agreed to rezone it to commercial zone. So anyways, then they rezoned it again without me having to reapply. They rezoned it to rural business instead of B2 commercial zone. But anyways, this gives me the ability to have a dealership there. I could have a shop there. I could have whatever I want there. So I done that in advance before the rules changed, because if the rules would have changed, I would not be able to even rezone it. Like, it becomes harder, like eventually. So I made it just in time. While I was rezoning, I took a dealership course. So I completed a car dealership certification so I could have a car dealership before I even have any cars, But anyways, in 2015, I bought that rundown place. It took me 3.5 years to fix it, because once I bought it, I ran out of money. And I was living in a dump, like literally, with my wife and my 2 kids at the time, because I didn't have, like, the third one, she was just born like 2 years ago. But anyways, it's been a really like a roller coaster ride. Even after buying that place, I ran out of money. My vehicle broke down. I needed to fix it. So while I was fixing the vehicle, I bought a transmission. No, I didn't buy a transmission. I needed to buy a transmission for it, but I bought a whole van for $1,600, and the guy wanted $7,000 for it. But the van was broke down. The engine was locked up. So I said, I'm only going to give you $1,600, which he said no. But then he called me up, like, I think like a month later. He says, I need to really get this thing moved from a parking lot that I have. Well, it's sitting in a parking lot at his apartments. And That's it. I took it away. I had flat tires on and everything. I got a tow truck there. I towed it. But anyways, I disassembled that whole engine so I could unlock the van. In the process, I made a bunch of videos. That was 7 years ago. And I started a whole YouTube channel on Mercedes Sprinter repair type of stuff. I already had like 1,400 videos, but a lot of them I've removed. Like sometimes I've removed videos when they're irrelevant to the channel topic. And I probably should have started whole new channels for that, but I didn't. And it just kept the mix of videos going on. But anyways, moving on. I removed the transmission. I installed the transmission to my van and I kept it going. And then the van finally, the transmission broke down again. And I just bought another van for $5,000 from another friend, and I fixed that instead because it just needed a rear end. But this other van that had a brand new engine needed the transmission again, and I just did not feel like doing all that again. Even though probably I should have. But anyways, I still have the van. But the reason I kind of did not want to do anything else to it is because by this time the van has 1,187,000 miles on it. So I bought it with 650,000 miles. It was already breaking down. It was actually, halfway broken. That thing would not accelerate past 35 miles an hour after I bought it. So I needed to fix it right away. But anyways, all that requires lots of story. So then I started buying more Sprinter vans because I realized that by me having used Sprinter vans that are broken, there's parts on them. I could remove the parts from this vehicle. Ultimately, the part that I removed would cost the cost of the van. Therefore, the part is free now and I still have the van remaining. So then I just keep borrowing parts and I keep buying other vans in the process. Anytime the van has a serious problem, I would fix it with other vans. I end up with 10 Sprinter vans. So I have 10 Sprinter vans now. I also have other vehicles, like I have a box truck as well. And then I started buying a bunch of cars and SUVs, because how I end up with this many cars is I would buy a car for myself, the car break down. I look into fixing it. If I buy an engine, let's say, engine costs like $2,500. Then I have to put it in and stuff. It takes time. So I could buy another car for $2,500 that's running. So I would just buy a whole new car. Now I have 2 similar cars. Then before you know, that car, maybe engine breaks down. Then I just buy another car. Now I have parts from that car. So in time, I started having a lot of cars. And I looked at it, I'm thinking, well, I have like 14 or 15 cars at a time. I'm thinking, interesting. So I'm basically fixing my own cars with the used car parts. So in a sense, I'm not losing any money. I sort of saved money, but I have a chunk of metal left over. So it's a good thing that I have a commercial zone property. So I just parked the car there. This is why I'm not worried about this BMW. It's a $2,500 BMW that I fixed it. I mean, I had to buy parts because I didn't have another car like this. But if I did, I would remove car parts from that and just fix it. So if this car does break down, I will just buy another BMW like this. If this car is beyond repair, I will just buy another one that's similar, use some of the car parts from this to fix that other one. And then before you know it, I have another $2,500 car, but no longer need to spend money in parts because I'll have the parts on this one that are probably working. Let's say it throws a rod. It means I still got good fuel injectors. I have good high pressure fuel pump. I still have good fuel rail and stuff like that, and good turbos, and on and on and on. But anyways, moving on. I then realized that there's other people that, like, from millionaire mind, that became millionaires by having a car junkyard. And I'm thinking, how can I have a car junkyard? I started researching. And in South Carolina, you need a car dealer license in order to have a junkyard. So I got one. So I could actually apply one. I have a certificate. Anybody could just take a class and get it. So this is not difficult. The most difficult part is having the property and having the funds to fund yourself for a car dealership. But the whole entire time before rideshare, I just got into rideshare 2021, July of 2021. So I haven't been in rideshare very long. So prior to that, I was just doing deliveries in a van, and that's what I was doing. That was my main source of income. And with that, I keep buying more cars, more vans, and stuff like that. So once I started rideshare, guess what? I realized I'm making exactly the same type of money as I was driving Sprinters. So I started taking this money, and again, I have breakdowns too. This is my second car that I'm using for rideshare, because my 2013 Nissan Altima needs a head gasket now, because I went from 45,000 miles in July to 127,000 miles in February of 2022. So July 2021, 45,000. February 2022, about date like 21st, 127,000. Bad head gasket. Probably next transmission is going to give out. The CVTs, they just don't last on 2013s. And I already had some issues out of the CVT when I bought it. I fixed it, but that's another story. But anyways, this is not like a mechanics channel. It's more like a rideshare channel, and showing you guys what you could take. Like, you could take rideshare, you could take the good and the bad with it, and you could basically become even better and improve yourself. So obviously our cars break down, and I talked about this many times. I'm not under any illusion if you buy a brand new car that it's gonna last you for years upon years. No, it will not with rideshare. It will maybe if you're in some, you know, like if you, let's say you bought a pickup truck or a van for construction business, and maybe you're driving it maybe like 60 miles a day, that's fine. Like, it's gonna last you maybe 5 years, no problem. Like, you'll still have warranty. Now with rideshare, you're putting 400 miles a day on it. Like, you can't really sustain yourself. But anyways, this is why it's very important to buy used cars. And I figured this out in expediting business. This is why I've been largely successful. When I had a brand new van, I had less money. I had a brand new van for a year and a half. And actually, long story short, I lost that van to the bank. And because the van had, like, seriously, like 350,000 miles. No. It had like 380,000 miles by the time I lost it. And basically they just took my van. I still owe $27,000 on it, and the van had that many miles, so it was like not even worth it for me to pay it off. So I let them take it, because at that time I already had 2 more vans. I paid cash for them, and so I wanted to negotiate with them to pay $14,000, but it did not happen. They got the van before I could negotiate, so they got the van. This is why I keep telling you guys, a brand new car, not a good idea. Unless they could say unlimited miles. And I heard somebody's doing that, maybe Kia, I don't know. Like, somebody said unlimited miles for one of the electric cars. If that's the case, jump on it, because you know, if we're putting on all these miles with this job, then if they fix it free for you, then you're gonna avoid so many problems. Because part of the problem, like with any kind of business, is downtime. And anytime your car breaks down, that's downtime. You gotta fix it. And while you're fixing it, you're spending money to fix it. You might not have any money to fix it. That way, if you have another car that you could take parts off of, it makes sense. You could just remove those parts and install it to this car. But largely in the beginning, I didn't have that option. Man, I remember I had to borrow $150 so I could buy a used fuel injector that for my Mercedes Sprinter diesel, which was a 2006 one. That's the one I was paying off, because I needed a fuel injector because it would not start. I found a problem with the fuel injector. And one guy sold me a fuel injector. He says, here's a $150 injector, and I installed it. It was not working. I told him it's a fuel injector. He's like, no, that's a working injector. No. So then I had to borrow $150 because I didn't have the money to buy one off eBay. The guy did not even guarantee that one, and I bought it and I installed it and it worked. And then so I took that other one back to him, and he's like, well, it should have been working. I tested all of them, but he didn't. He's just lying. You know, a lot of people, they just lie. Like, that's just how things are, you know. So it's like I learned to accept it. So in life, one of the things you could accept and you could expect is failure. Like, failure is always right around the corner, and there's such thing as Murphy's Law. If it can happen, it will happen. Basically, if you're not prepared for the situation. So you always have to be prepared. You always have to have a backup plan for a backup plan. And I've been working so hard and always having a backup plan. I've learned in 2008 and 9 that I needed to buy something that nobody can kick me out of, like my own residence, because, and plus 2011 that was put to a test. Like, I needed a place to live. I had to move in back with my mom, but I didn't live there. I was living on the road in somebody else's van because I could not afford mine. I needed to work a little bit so I could get my name, you know, like my, I don't know, whatever, get myself back into the game of expediting. I needed to do something. I just could not do nothing. But anyways, moving on. Ultimately, after getting into the rideshare business, because I have residual income also coming in from various sources, it's able to help cover my bills. But I still have like family needs, wants, stuff around the house, stuff that I gotta fix and buy. That's still, you know, I still gotta make money for that. So that's where rideshare comes in. And while in rideshare, I bought even more cars because I'm buying cars for my wife. Her cars break down. I buy another car to fix her car, and then I have a car, and then I have to buy another car to fix my car. And then I also did like some experiments. How can I buy cars even cheaper? And bought more cars with that, like that. That's how I ended up with 33 cars. But anyways, I will be buying more of them. But in order for me to actually start making money with these cars, because I'm not right now, like everything's just basically like broken down. Like I need to fix stuff. So this is why, yeah, I have all these different businesses, but some of my residual income business, they don't make that much money. Like they make money. It's basically money coming in, but I invested a lot of time into getting those business operational. This is why, like, look, I'm working right now on my business again. This is another residual income business that I'm working on, is this rideshare channel. It's ultimately going to be a business, and it's already monetized. This channel is already making me some money. Like it's not a lot of money, it's making me some money. Like it ultimately will grow and it's going to start generating more income. But what is needed for that? Look, right now, instead of working, I'm parked and I'm recording this video because I wanted to do like a face-to-face video. I can't do a video of me doing a screen record and doing the same thing. It's just not gonna be the same. Like this talk is more important. Like it's a face-to-face type of talk, and it's real talk. And I'm a genuine person, and I say things how they are. So I'm not trying to, you know, blow something out of proportion and say like, look at me, I'm this cool guy. I'm not this cool guy. I'm a driver, and I basically had a lot of bad experiences. I've learned from these experiences. I applied what I've learned, and now I'm at this point. So it might seem like I'm very far away, but I'm really not. But at the same time, I was able to jump on some opportunities early, before they went away. Like when the housing market crashed, there were some opportunities to buy homes. It was very tough for me to take that opportunity because I didn't have any money. But ultimately, 2015 was still a good buying opportunity. Stuff was not that expensive. And to benefit even more, I moved all the way from Charlotte, 1 hour away, to South Carolina, just so I could buy more house for the money. And well, in Charlotte, I would not be able to buy nothing with the money that I had anyways. So those opportunities are now long gone. Like now you're gonna need to work even harder than I was. So you gotta be even smarter than I was. In knowing stories like my story where I was, maybe you could learn from that and maybe apply yourself and do better. But ultimately, life comes with lots of challenges. So my next challenge is, what do I do with these cars? I need to build a car parts business. So what have I done so far? I built the inventory. I got the inventory for car parts business. The dealership business is gonna be like a whole another thing. But right now, most of these cars, they're worth more dead than alive. So it means I gotta, I gotta part them all out and sell car parts. And then I'll build sort of like a residual business out of that. But I need to work in that business. So what I need for that, I need a shop, I need a warehouse. So I need commercial shelves. So I bought 18 commercial grade shelves. They're 4 feet by 8 feet long by 12 feet tall. And they're really solid, heavy duty commercial grade shelving. I have them. I bought them pretty much cheap because I bought it from a warehouse that was liquidating, and I was able to negotiate. I said, how about all these shelves? How much? And I got it. I don't even remember what I paid for them. Still thousands of dollars, but not what it would have cost me if I would have just bought them brand new. But anyways, right now, I already have some money saved up. I'm going to start building my garage. I was planning to just hit it hard and work these 2 months. And these months are going by so quick, like so quick. And I was thinking like, I'll just do like rideshare every single day, save up all the money, build a garage. But I have a little bit of money saved. I'm going to probably only work the weekend and some days that I cannot really apply, like today raining. What are you going to do? It's rain. But ultimately what I got to do is take 4 days, Monday to Thursday. Like these are the worst days to do Uber in. I'm going to apply myself and fixing some of the cars. Am I making money those days? No, I'm not. Like I will not make money, but I got to fix some of the cars. So first I got to fix some cars, put them up for sale. Once they start selling, sometimes I might break even, but I'll get my money back. That will allow me to take some of that other money and reinvest it back into the garage. So once I build a garage, that's it. It's built. Yes, it's going to cost me a lot of money up front. I don't want to finance it. I'm going to do it myself. But ultimately, once it's built, that's it. I have a space to work on my cars. Like next goal, I gotta build a warehouse. But I might do a garage slash warehouse, just so I could sort of kill two birds with one stone and sort of get the ball rolling and start actually making some money versus making no money. But ultimately, I've done calculations, guys, and they're not looking good. I always done calculations, and I've realized that if I'm buying a car, let's say I buy a car for $1,500, usually that's what they run for at auctions, even though this is $2,500, but this is 2010. But some of the stuff that you're gonna buy, like let's say like a year 2005, 7, you know, by the time you buy the car and you pay all the fees and everything for it, the car's $2,500. I mean, $1,500, sometimes more, depending on the kind of car, depending on miles. But usually you could get a car with lots of problems, like lots of problems, $1,500. So you get the car, maybe it needs an engine, maybe it needs a transmission, maybe it's smashed in the front, side, back, one of those. So you choose whatever you like to fix, you know. If you know the car's been smashed in the front, then you know the engine's still good because it was driving when I did that. If you buy a car that's not smashed, it's got a bad engine, bad transmission. I've got some of those. It's still gonna be $1,500. So to fix it, if you buy the parts for it, it's probably gonna cost $2,500. Usually that's what it costs, like for the part. Then you're gonna install it. If you're paying somebody to install it, usually gonna cost you $2,500. I'm talking about like engine. You buy engine $2,500, you pay somebody to install it. I know the installation might not be that much, like, but depending if it's a 4-cylinder, 6-cylinder, or 8-cylinder, they will charge you different prices. But by the time you put it in, right, usually they cost $1,000 to pull it out, $1,000 to put it in. Usually that's what mechanics charge, especially now. And you might not even be able to find anybody that cheap. I know Mercedes charged me a ton of money to put it in, a ton of money. I'm not even gonna get into it right now. But anyways, what I figured out is, by the time you take a $1,500 car, you put $2,500 into it, you then put your own time into it, which nobody's paying you for it. Let's say it takes you a whole week to fix that car, right? And the car's really like cost you, like now at this point, $4,000 plus your time, which in a whole week I could easily make $2,000 with Uber, right? But now I put the time in, nobody's paying me back for the time. So technically I got to sell the car for $6,000, but the car is only worth $5,000. And that is the problem. So now I sell the car for $5,000, I'm just getting my money back. If I try to sell it for $6,000, you know, everybody's always like lowballing. You can't sell the car for that much, you know, and it's like, and I realized that even if I'm making $1,500 on the car and I could sell it in a week, that means the most I can make in that week is $1,500 when I put so much work into the vehicle. It's a lot of labor intensive work. The only way to make it work is to buy more expensive cars. But to buy a more expensive car, you gotta have a lot of cash. I don't have a lot of cash. I have a lot of cheap cars. That means I gotta keep flipping my way till I get a more expensive car. And then I could work less by fixing one good car, and then I could sell it. But I still have lots of work to do for me to even get to that point. And I still got a shop to build. So there's a lot of moving parts, guys. So I'm not sitting on money. Like, I got a wife, I got 3 kids. I constantly have to buy them stuff. My kids' appetites are constantly growing. My wife's appetites are constantly growing. And I'm not even talking about food. Food is very expensive these days. Things have went up, like it's doubled or tripled in some cases. So it's costing me even more. So it's almost kind of like I have an uphill battle, or like I like to use this analogy where like I'm swimming upstream, basically, like up like this. So I have bills coming at me. I have expenses coming at me, like my kids, my wife expenses, like, and then on top of that, I still have to make sure that I provide them a good lifestyle and I could grow financially and grow a business. And I just want to get this out there. You know, first of all, I'm not somebody that's very good at business. I'm a strategist. I work with the information that I do have available to me. A lot of it I'm learning from myself, and I've learned a lot from books, and I've learned a lot from YouTube videos, and also I'm learning a lot on my own. So as I'm learning on my own, I'm sharing this knowledge with you guys, and I hope you guys appreciate it. Some maybe not appreciate it, but the thing is, it's a lot better to learn knowledge from somebody else than not. But ultimately, at this point, I'm just a driver. I'm not some cool businessman. And actually, if somebody's like just starts off a business, like they're not some cool business person, like they just started a business. And when you start a business, the chances of success is very slim. 80% of businesses fail within the first 5 years. And this is why I also know, like, just because I'm going to start a parts business, right? and stop everything else, I could fail. And actually, shoot, like if I list some parts now, there's no guarantee that they will even sell, even if I have a warehouse. That means I'll still have to have some income going in. So don't quit your day job until your business finally replaced your day job. You know what I mean? So one of the cool things about rideshare, first of all, I could be home each day. I could sleep in my bed every night. And it allows me to create some income that I could quickly reinvest into my business or quickly pay some bills. Also, it allows me to take the days that I need to work on my business. And then if I'm not making any profit, I'm waiting for something to sell, like a car or a parts, I could get back and I could start driving and I could make more money, so I could now work on something else and fix that. But ultimately, it's a big waiting game. So anything that I try to sell, I'm selling parts, I'm waiting. I'm selling cars, I'm waiting. While my income is like locked up, like my money is locked up. And eventually the ball's gonna start rolling. It's gonna be like sort of like snowball effect. But ultimately what I figured out is most of my cars, if I part them out and I put them on shelves, I just save a bunch of time. Because fixing cars, this is why they're selling so cheap at auctions. This is why they're selling below value. It's because the car's not even worth that much anymore. By the time you fix it, it's worth the same amount. You cannot really make any money. The only time it really makes any sense is if you keep the car for yourself, you saved some money, I guess, if you fix it yourself and you keep it for yourself. That's what I've been doing. But ultimately, it makes a lot of sense by selling used car parts at a current state where I'm at. But I don't have a warehouse, and I really need a warehouse. And I'm getting closer to building one. And I hope I could build it this year. And in my head, it's already built. Like I already could see it. Like it almost looks like it could be built in like 2 months. But I don't know. I don't know. Is it gonna be built this year? Because last year I was planning to build it, but it did not work out. Somehow, year came and went. We're now into the new year. Still nothing's happening. And it's because it's always an uphill battle. Like it's hard. Like life is really hard. But you know, I'm trying to basically work with what I got, and we're all working with the same amount of income. We all could put in the same amount of work into making some money, and then some of us are just paying bills. And I'm paying bills and trying to have some money left over so I could reinvest in business. While my wife is like, hey, I need you to do honey-do projects for me, because like literally, that's what she's doing a lot of times. And my kids are screaming like they need some help too. And a lot of time gets lost, you know, unfortunately. But ultimately, don't be thinking like I'm this some businessman. Like all I'm trying to do right now is still work on these ideas. I'm still building them, and I'm building them without no debts. I'm trying to build them without using any credit. I'm trying to build them without borrowing money from the bank, not getting any loans on this kind of stuff. And that's hard. That's very hard. But I know right now it's even harder. But here's what I'm going to recommend for you guys. If you're right now just in your apartment and you're just trying to pay rent, dude, I would hit it so hard, man. Like I would work both, like Uber and Lyft. I would barely sleep. I would probably sleep in my car, dude. Like I would just like work. Drink a bunch of energy drinks. I mean, like, no, don't think that it's like health advice, you know, but I'm telling you, like, I would hustle like crazy. I would just freaking work my ass off. Okay. And then what I would do is I would save all that money, and I would try to buy some like a bank foreclosure land, or try to find some land. And one of the best ways to find land for sale is whatever you're trying to buy it at. Like get like a local magazine where somebody listed all the land for sale. You could also look it up on Zillow, you know, like Redfin. Like there's a bunch of websites you could look up stuff, or you could contact a real estate agent and have them help you, which I am in real estate school. I'm trying to basically help other people find land or whatever. But what I would do is I would buy a piece of land, maybe like 1 acre. You don't really need a lot of land. Okay, buy 1 acre. If it does have a trailer on it, great. If it doesn't, put a trailer on it. Like buy some cheap trailer, find a way to tow it there, put a trailer on it, or build yourself like a little hut, whatever, just like live there, you know. And then start collecting slowly, and maybe like do an addition and keep growing. But once you have a land, you're allowed to build on that land. You could even borrow money to build whatever you want, but I don't recommend borrow money. I'd say, look, work the weekend, maybe Monday to Friday through Thursday, you build in your own place. You know, build something small. You don't need nothing major. I bought a 900 square foot home. That's all I live in right now. So I'm kind of running out of space. I only have 2 bedroom. So I actually need to expand. Well, at the same time, I got to build my business. So it's like my wife's like, hey, we really need to expand. I'm like, I got to get a garage. You know, so it's kind of like, it's really crazy. Like it's almost kind of like you want something, but you got to do something else first. And then you got to do something else first before you could actually do that next thing. You know, if you're by yourself, like if you don't have a wife, you don't have no kids, like you could really work hard. Like you don't need to be paying rent right now. I would like take all my stuff. If you're renting, shoot, do like do like a sale, like what do they call them sales, like whatever. Put everything on Craigslist, sell everything, like put up signs that you're, you know, selling all your furniture, everything. Sell all your stuff, whatever's left, put it into a storage, live in your car, save up as much money as possible, and then just go from there. Like buy a piece of land, put a trailer on it, before you know it, like fix it up, and then keep going. And then you could have something, and then you could start buying cars if you want to create a car parts business, or you could start any other business. But that's what I would do now. Okay, that's what I would do, especially if I'm by myself. Because if you're by yourself, you don't have no wife, no kids, like nobody else is asking money from you. Like you could then choose to eat less, choose to maybe lose weight or whatever. You could get like a fitness membership and just wash yourself there at a fitness membership. You know, sleep in your car. You could find safe places to sleep, like truck stops. You know, that would be probably one of the safest places to sleep. Take a shower at a truck stop if you want to. But anyways, that is that. But anyways, guys, that is a little video that I explained some stuff. Hopefully you guys like it. Let me know in the comments below what you think. I'm a genuine person. Like I try to tell it like it is. I hope nothing sounds like I'm bragging, because ultimately I make these videos so I could better myself and I could help somebody else better themselves. Because ultimately I'm not somebody that's highly educated. I got some high school. I mean, excuse me, some high school. I finished high school. I got my high school diploma, and I got some college. I was a certified nurse's assistant, thinking about becoming a nurse or something else, in you know, like maybe like a doctor. But I don't have no money for a doctor's school, and you know, nothing like that. But I realized that I'm more a business-minded person. Like I would be always thinking about business, and I would not be able to be satisfied being in a medical profession, even though income's guaranteed, because ultimately I enjoy freedom. So the whole idea of me building how I build it, because I enjoy freedom. Even though I work very hard, I still feel like I could work when I want to. I could rest when I want to, and it makes me feel better that I'm working towards a bigger goal, if that makes any sense. If I was just working to pay bills, I would be very miserable. I don't care how nice my house is. I want to make sure I pay the least amount of money for the house, the least amount of money for the car, the least amount for the repair. This is why I have videos on my other YouTube channels that teaches you how to repair your cars. There's a bunch of channels out there that's doing that, okay? I'm one of them that helps with the Mercedes Sprinter diesels. If you look up Zimaleta How To Show, Zimaleta Motors, you're going to run into my channels that does that. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. I know it's a very long video. Hopefully it's a motivational video for some of you guys. And let me know if you liked it. Let me know if you want more videos like this. But take care of yourself, and see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.